afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this weekly edition of Xtreme Sports. I am the one they call the X Factor, Xavier McKnight, and it's great to be back on the airwaves for another extraordinary semester.
I'm Randolph Barratt.
And I'm Miles McCray.
And we have our awesome behind-the-scenes crew as well as the entire Xtreme Sports team. And it's great to be back for another semester.
Yes, sir.
We're taking things to the next level this time around, guys. I can't wait. We're going to high places. I want to open up the show with a topic that's been on my mind for quite some time now. The purpose of the NFL preseason are exhibition games to give undrafted players and low-round draft picks the chance to show teams that they have what it takes to make the roster or at least make the practice squad, not to play their stars. Julio Jones, Keanu Neal, Tony Romo, these are all notable players on their teams, all injured last night during preseason action. As a matter of fact, Keanu Neal will actually miss 3 to 4 weeks after undergoing knee surgery today. Minor knee surgery. Tony Romo suffered a back injury, not said to be serious, but with Tony Romo, the back is always said to be serious. And Julio Jones, don't get me started on his lower leg injuries. The knee, the hamstring, and now the ankle. Not said to be serious, but still always said to be alarming. You know, Randolph, can you just give me your thoughts on this? Should the NFL teams rest their stars during the preseason?
In my opinion, I've always been the person who would agree that they shouldn't be playing in the preseason because of what you stated out, the injury factor, especially with guys like Tony Romo, who their team is one injury away from just being a non-contender like the Cowboys were last year. So I've always been the guy who says no, they shouldn't play, they shouldn't start their stars because there should be an opportunity for the younger guys to step in and make their names on the NFL roster.
Yeah, football is a very, very high intense, impact sport, and players are getting injured from time to time on a regular basis. So, as you said, Randolph, it's definitely a good idea for them to sit out and get as healthy as they can because, it's a long 16-game season, and one injury could, make a team go from a Super Bowl contender to a bust just like that.
And Randolph spoke about what we saw with the Dallas Cowboys last year. Big-time Super Bowl contender coming in the last season. Dez Bryant goes out week 1, mainly because of preseason. Well, he was holding out during training camp process for a new contract. That probably didn't help. Then Tony Romo follows that up in week 2 by going down with a collarbone injury. He has a history of those as well. So, you never know what the preseason can bring. I would not even play my first, second, or third round picks that much during the preseason. I would let them play limited action to get them experience on an NFL playing field, but I would not be playing them for a great duration of the game. I wouldn't play them for a full half.
I agree with you there. Those first, second, and third round picks should get some amount of playing time so they can get acclimated, with the offense in an in-game style. So the stars should only need to be playing, but the draft picks, I think, definitely should be on the field for limited time.
Yeah, there's 75 guys on this roster at this point. We have to cut 20 people before the season starts. So there's definitely opportunity for a lot of other players to get some time out there and see what they got.
Definitely. Let's touch on our Savannah State Tigers football team right now. They had a scrimmage yesterday. They've had a scrimmage the past couple of weeks, but new football program going in, new regime, a new head coach coming in, new philosophies, new playbooks, and we're seeing many things from the scrimmages and the practices, and we're also hearing that the defense is implementing a no-fly zone in the secondary. That's a bold move. That's a bold statement to make, the no-fly zone.
It is a bold move. You see a lot of great secondaries in the league make statements like that. But it's going to be real interesting to see how the Tigers do this year. We've seen improvement from them. They made strides last year. There's been a lot of talk about improvement with the football program. So we're going to see how much they've really been working, in this offseason.
Yeah, it's definitely hard, trying to root for our football team with our records that we've had as of late. But, we got a new quarterback, so hopefully he can get us towards where we need to go because, you can't have a good offense without a good quarterback.
Well, they open up the season at Georgia Southern, who is coming off of a major bowl victory. So that may not exactly help things, or maybe they could surprise us and they can go out there and beat Georgia Southern. We never know, but I'm not betting on that to happen right now.
It would be big time if they could do that, but like you said, I'm not betting on that either.
Only time will tell how far that the Tigers are able to go this season. The MLB playoff race is starting to heat up. September is right around the corner. Playoffs start in October, and many interesting things happen in the month of September. We saw this in years past. But let's talk about the Cleveland Indians and the Texas Rangers leading the American League standings right now. Randolph, did you expect to see this at the start of the MLB season?
Definitely not from either of these two teams. It's been great to see the resurgence of the Cleveland Indians under Francona and company. The Rangers also have been a big surprise. I'm interested to see if they can hold on this last quarter of the season. Well, we've got about 40 games left, so I'm interested to see how they fare out.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe that the Cleveland Indians' resurgence may possibly be going off of the momentum of the Cleveland Cavaliers winning the NBA championship this year?
I think so. With the Cavs winning the championship, it brought a whole life back to that city of Cleveland sports. So I think they're just feeding off of that, and they're going to take it all the way through.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the Cavaliers. I was about to say that, I feel like that the Cavaliers have maybe taken the curse or the burden off the city, and it seems like now that more of the sports teams are seeming to do and fare well in their games.
Definitely. Cleveland may be looking to make history and have two Cleveland teams win a championship in the same year for the first time in a long time. The Chicago Cubs. I love this topic because, Randolph, as you know, as soon as the MLB season ended last season, I said the Cubs were just one or two pieces away from a World Series. What happens in the offseason? Jason Hayward, Ben Zobrist signed to the Cubs, and I automatically said the Cubs, if they stay healthy, they'll win in the World Series.
Yeah, we talked about this on the show like last year. The Cubs, they didn't win it last year. They were one or two pieces away. They got what they needed. They stayed relatively healthy. So I think, in my opinion, the Cubs are going all the way this year.
Yeah, I mean, the Cubs, they've had an excellent season. Chris Bryant's in his second year. I mean, he's already got 33 home runs. Still got 40 games left, so, hopefully we can get him to that 50 to 60 home run range. Anthony Rizzo also, I mean, he's been playing pretty much identical to Chris Bryant. I mean, his stats, his OPS is like 396, I think. I mean, gosh, he's been a great player this season.
Definitely, and you see the addition of players like Addison Russell, Dexter Fowler, Jorge Soler. Unfortunately, Kyle Schwarber is out with an injury this season, but they've rallied around him as well. And I really like how the team has rallied around the oldest player on the team, veteran David Ross, knowing that this is his last season, saying, we want to get one for the old man, as they call him.
Definitely, they really rallied around him, and they played really, really well. The thing for me about the Cubs is their starting pitching. They've been big time this year. They got John Lester out there. He's got 14 wins. Arrieta has 16 wins. They have 4 guys, starters, who all are above 11 wins. So their starting pitching has been very reliable this season. Hopefully they can keep that going into the postseason. And
I'm glad you mentioned that name, John Lester, Randolph, because as soon as John Lester came in last season, I said changes are coming to the Cubs organization. But when they acquired John Lackey in the offseason as well, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm feeling really good about my prediction right now because John Lester, John Lackey, World Series experience in Boston in the past.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think you got to give credit to the Cubs farm system as well. I mean, 3 of their starting pitchers they drafted, and, they haven't traded them or anything. They brought them up through their farm system, and now that they're all starters, it seems like they're actually contributing.
And let's not forget about the addition of Aroldis Chapman there at the trade deadline, getting that acquisition, because when he's on, this guy can be the best closer in baseball. Well, guys, it is an even year in baseball, and in this decade, you know what we say about even years. The San Francisco Giants, are they going to shock the world again and win another World Series? But right now, they're trailing the Dodgers in the National League West Division by 1 game. Can the Giants come back, Randolph? Can they come back?
The Giants, they can't come back. They're only 1 game down. It's that time of year they really amp it up. They have that championship experience. I think they're going to catch the Dodgers and win the division.
Yeah, me as well. I mean, like you said, they have that championship experience. You can't knock championship experience when you have the talent to back it as well. The Dodgers are a great team, but the Giants just have all the keys that they need to win.
The Giants have what the Dodgers don't have right now, that championship experience that you spoke of, Miles. Madison Bumgarner, Bruce Bochy's a great manager. Buster Posey is practically the best catcher in baseball in many people's eyes. But the month of September is when the Giants do wrap it all together. That's when they get it together. Let's talk about the AL East, guys. It's been a very competitive division this year, except for everybody with the Tampa Bay Rays, which is a complete grease fire now that Joe Madden is out of the picture there. But, we'll just leave them out of this conversation. The Yankees, the Red Sox, the Orioles, and the Blue Jays. It's all up for grabs right now. Who's going to take it?
It definitely is all up for grabs. Of course, if you're asking me, I would say the Yankees. But it's great to see the Red Sox. They've been up there for the majority of the season. The Blue Jays, they've been there. The Orioles are there. The Yankees have climbed back in with this youth movement that they've recently came upon. In my opinion, I think who's going to win it, I'm going to go with Toronto to win the division.
I think Toronto's going to win it too. As much as I am saying that, I'm a huge Yankees fan, and they're down 6 games, but I think with their youth and their talent that they can maybe prevail and hit that second seed.
Yeah, Randolph, you spoke on the Yankees youth movement. Let's talk about the moves that they've made in the past couple of weeks. A-Rod's gone. We learned that Mark Teixeira's retiring at the end of the season. Andrew Miller's gone. Aroldis Chapman traded to the Cubs. Carlos Beltran gone. And we thought, wow, the Yankees, they're just going to rebuild this year and they're going to put those players in the farm system. But we have been surprised. Aaron Judge, Tyler Austin, and Gary Sanchez, who I believe is the next great Yankee, the next great MLB player. It's just been a joy to watch, especially for me as a Yankees fan.
Well, it was about that time. The old guard was slowly going out, and these are just the final pieces that they had to remove. But like you said, it's been great to see that the young guys have stepped up and came in and kept them really competitive for the wild card even division.
And just to wrap up this segment, let's just say it like this. We're Yankees fans. We don't like the Red Sox. What a story it would be for David Ortiz to go out with a World Series ring. What a story that would be. The Kansas City Royals, they're the reigning world champions in baseball, but they are not in the playoff race right now, but they've won 9 of their last 10 games. Can they get back in the playoffs for a 3rd year in a row? Can they defend that crown?
I think they can. They've gotten hot over their last 10. They won 9 of their last 10. This is about that time where they step it up like they did last year to make their run to win the World Series championship. So I expect to see the Royals back in the World playoffs this year.
I mean, the previous World Series champs, they have everything that they need to get back to where they need to be. It's just really a matter of execution. They just got to put their foot down and, got to get it done.
Definitely, and we're going to cut to a quick commercial break here, but when we get back, we're going to touch on our Savannah State volleyball team and their new program that they have going on. Stay tuned, stay locked. Xtreme Sports coming back here. We are back on Xtreme Sports. Great to have you in today. Randolph Miles joining me as usual. The behind-the-scenes crew, the Xtreme Sports team. The Savannah State volleyball program, they are taking a different direction for this semester. Firing their former coach, Coach Graham, bringing in a new coach with a new philosophy. The Lady Tigers, they went winless last year. It's embarrassing to sit here and have to say that, but they went winless last year, ladies and gentlemen, only winning 1 set to be exact. Randolph, can the Lady Tigers finally get back on the winning track this season?
Well, compared to last season, like you said, they only won 1 set. In my opinion, there's no way to go but up. So they have to. I mean, they brought in a new coach. She has a whole new philosophy from Coach Graham. There's no way to go but up, honestly.
Here's the one thing that's encouraging me. The players look happy. They look satisfied. Last season, the players looked miserable. They didn't want to go to practice. They weren't very excited to play in the games. So I'm encouraged to see that from the players this time around.
Yeah, a new head coach is always great. Like you said, Randolph, it's a new philosophy, a new system in place. And, sometimes they can give, the athletes that motivation and that extra spirit that they need to work harder in what they're doing. And, hopefully that can translate to some wins this year.
Definitely. The new head coach of the Savannah State women's volleyball team is Edric Portier, a native of the Bahamas, has a career record of 192 to 135 in 11 seasons as a head coach in Division II, including a school best record last season of 21-7 at Bluefield State College. So we'll see what the Lady Tigers can bring us this season, but as of for right now, the Lady Tigers are at a scrimmage in Athens, Georgia, where they're taking on the University of Sacramento in a tournament right now this season. So we'll just see what they can bring us. Kobe Bryant Does he deserve a day in his honor? First, let's touch on this. August 24th. How touching is that? 8/24, the two numbers that he wore in his career.
Right.
Kobe Bryant Day was announced by the LA City Council earlier this week. Now, if we're going to have Kobe Day, you can also say that we should have other notable athletes who should have their own day as well. But does it just feel like that Kobe may deserve this day a little bit more, considering what the Lakers management put him through for the last few seasons?
Well, considering what he's done for the franchise, definitely there's no question that he deserves a day. What he had to go through his last couple of years in LA, of course, adds to that. You've seen him work so hard to get back, even though he never got back to that level that he wanted to get to. He still worked so hard to put everything into the game. So without question, I believe Bryant deserves his own day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he, besides Michael Jordan, maybe Tim Duncan, those are the only other few players that you can mention. They haven't really done as much as those two other players have done for their franchise as a collective whole. And, you know, he definitely deserves a day. I mean, Kobe Bryant's brought 3 championships, plus another 2, you know, so that's a total of 5. And, I mean, I think that's what he deserves to do.
I mean, and who knows? Maybe this starts a trend. Let's move outside the NBA for a second. Peyton Manning, the all-time great Indianapolis Colt, he deserves a day in Indianapolis, if you ask me. Tom Brady in Boston, the New England area. You spoke on Michael Jordan in Chicago. I mean, maybe this starts a trend for athletes to have their own day in the cities where they gave their all for so many seasons. So,
If I were to choose a player, it's going to be Derek Jeter. In New York, of course, for what Derek Jeter has done his entire career in New York, it would be Derek Jeter.
well, I can understand why you would say that, but there are so many great players in the history of the Yankees organization.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, you have Babe Ruth, you have Lou Gehrig, you have Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris. The list goes on and on.
So why not just give them all a day?
Yeah, that's a good question. You gotta give one player a holiday. You gotta give them all a holiday or a statue, one or the other.
Definitely. A great debate, and guys, I'm pretty sure you'll agree with me on this. A great debate that has happened in the world of sports in the past couple of months that may have come into full fruition after Saturday night is that the UFC has officially overtaken boxing. And I say that because Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz are said by many to be the best fight in over the past 40 years. The best fight that many people were saying that they had saw from that point until now, Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier in 1971.
I definitely believe and agree with you that UFC is taking over from boxing. And also that McGregor and Diaz, that was a spectacular fight, and potentially they could be a third in due time. But yeah, UFC is just taking over. Boxing is not as promoted like it used to be. You hear much more about UFC, and UFC is just what everyone wants to see. They want to see the knockouts, and you don't see that much in boxing like you used to. It's more of a defensive fighting style.
You spoke on the knockouts. The heavyweight division in the American nation, I believe that killed boxing. I strongly just believe that killed boxing as a whole. Think about it. In the 60s, 70s, you had Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, all these great stars. And then it integrated into the 1980s and the 90s with Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, so many big names. And today you have guys like Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. They're great fighters, but they're defensive fighters. There's no knockout power there. It's boring. People do not want to see boring. They want to see the combat sport for what it is. Americans enjoy violence. People, as in general, they enjoy violence. We watch boxing for violence. People watch professional wrestling not because of the fact that, oh, pro wrestling is real. People know pro wrestling isn't real. It's a scripted storyline. The athletes are real. The actors are real. The injuries that they suffer, they're very much real. But the storylines are scripted. But when you're watching those matches or you're just watching those storylines unfolding, you just see blood. That's what people want to see. That's what attracts people to the box office.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at like these. We don't have a big boxer, as you said, like in the higher heavyweight realms like we did before. You know, we got Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. Those are little guys. Like I said, people want to see the big, gigantic athletes swing big fists at each other until somebody's knocked out. And that's just something that, we don't see all too much anymore.
I'm glad you spoke on that, Miles, because Floyd Mayweather, he's a big star in the world of boxing, but Let's put Floyd Mayweather's career up in the media versus Mike Tyson's career in the media. It's not close. Floyd Mayweather's career versus Muhammad Ali's career in the media. It's not close. It's nowhere even near that. So maybe boxing can possibly make a comeback. But here's something else that UFC does different than boxing has ever done. They promote the male and female stars at an equal rate. Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor, Holly Holm, John Jones. It's an equal rate that they promote their stars at.
And that's what I was speaking on earlier. The promotion for UFC has surpassed what they have for boxing, because you don't hear anything. Well, boxing, I mean, they just don't promote. Like, you don't hear as much about boxing as you used to because of the fall off of heavyweight division and so many other things. So, I mean, we'll have to see.
Definitely. And we're going to cut to another quick commercial break here, but when we come back, we're going to be on a more serious topic, the Ryan Lochte scandal that took place over in Rio during the Olympics. Stay locked, stay loaded. Xtreme Sports coming back at you. Welcome back to Xtreme Sports. Good to have everyone in today, but we now move the panel to a different, more serious discussion. The Ryan Lochte scandal that took place in the Rio Olympics last week. Brazilian police have charged Ryan Lochte with making a false police report about him being robbed at a convenience store while in Rio, when in fact what happened was Ryan Lochte and a few other American swimmers.
We've got Jack Conger, Gunnar Benz, and Jimmy Fagan.
Were all reportedly drunk at the time, and they actually vandalized the store and they left before police could get to the scene. And as a result, Ryan Lochte has lost 4 of his major endorsements, including Speedo, Ralph Lauren, Air Weave, Gentle Hair Removal. But he's also picked up a few more endorsements in the past couple of days. But just the embarrassment that this scandal brings, and because of the shenanigans and just the stupidity that was brought upon it. Randolph, what can you just say about this?
That's my word to describe the whole situation. Stupidity. There is no reason for these guys to be out there vandalizing the store and then claim to get robbed. And then lie about it. That's the thing that irks me about it. It's so embarrassing that they lied about it. So now we have Ryan Lochte. He lied about the situation. He apologizes. So he goes out there, he lies about the situation, and now he's losing all of these sponsorships, losing all of this money. There's no reason to put yourself in that position.
I mean, it's just an ugly situation altogether. I mean, he lied about everything that happened, and now it just ended up turning out to him losing money. I mean, when you think back at this, I mean, probably just decides that you probably should have never lied.
And he possibly could be facing jail time as well. There's being reported that he possibly could face up to 18 months in prison. Should he have to serve time for this?
I think so, because they vandalized the store, and then they lied about it, that they got robbed. So I think so.
I mean, I don't think necessarily he should serve jail time, maybe, pay some type of fines or donate something to charity, but, I mean, it was just a little white lie. I mean, nothing too terrible, I don't think, in my opinion.
It's not, but it's a big deal because Rio was a struggling area of the world when they were getting ready to prepare for the Olympics anyway. The Zika virus that was going on there, the water problems that were going on there. The nation is struggling. Brazil is struggling. And you go to that nation and you do something like that, it's just not a good look to me. It's just not.
It could be not even understandable if they did it in America, but the fact that they went to another country, tore someplace up, lied about it, is what really irks me about it. It's no reason at all. That's why I agree that they should serve some type of jail time, because they went to another country, vandalized their property, and lied about it.
And Ryan Lochte, he reportedly said that he would be returning for another Olympics before this whole story unfolded. Fat chance of that happening. I strongly believe that because of his shenanigans and his wrongful decision making, his Olympic career is over with, without a doubt.
If not that, he's going to be 36 by the time the next Olympic comes by. I highly doubt that he will be there.
Even if, 36, minimal endorsements. As an Olympian athlete, especially in his type of sport, it's already hard enough to claim endorsements, and it's going to be even harder for him going forward.
And here's the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen. Always do the right thing. always tell the truth. I'll give you another situation. Tom Brady and the cell phone incident with Deflategate. If Tom Brady had just cooperated with the NFL, maybe he wouldn't be in the mess that he's in right now with a 4-game suspension. Now, let me tell you why I go back to that scenario. Peyton Manning a few months ago was under investigation for PED allegations. Peyton Manning, he fully cooperated with the league. He didn't make a big fuss or fight about the whole incident. Just last month, Peyton Manning is acquitted of all allegations about PED use.
And to go back to the Brady situation, I believe he put that suspension on himself. If he, like you said, cooperated with the investigation, it took a whole year to get it resolved, and in the end, it ended with the same punishment, him getting the 4-game suspension.
Definitely. Just always tell the truth, always do the right thing, and you won't end up in messy situations. That's just the moral of this story. And we're going to cut to another quick commercial break. When we return, is Chris Paul leaving? Is Blake leaving? Are they both leaving? Should Clipper fans be worried? Stay locked, stay loaded. Xtreme Sports coming at you. We are back on Xtreme Sports. Miles McCray joining me as usual. Thanks everyone behind the scenes for making everything happen. Los Angeles Clippers fans, they're hysterical to me. We have all the time in the world to put together an NBA championship. We got Doc Rivers, we got Chris Paul, we got Blake Griffin. And then you realize 2017 is next year. Both of those guys will be free agents. Should the Clippers be worried about losing CP3 and Blake in the next offseason? I mean, CP3 is getting older, Blake is going in year 7, and the Clippers have not advanced past the second round in this tenure.
Should they be worried? Of course they should be. Like you just said, they haven't made it out of the second round in their entire tenure, Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, since they've been there. They were up 3-1 on the Rockets just a couple years ago and couldn't get the job done. So in my opinion, this is the last year. Like, this is their last chance. If they can't get it done this year, it's over with. I think they're cleaning house. Everyone's gone.
And it also doesn't help that the Warriors really just stacked the deck against the entire NBA by adding Kevin Durant in the offseason. You still got the Spurs in there, and you have younger teams like the Blazers and Timberwolves that are coming.
I mean, let's be honest here. The Clippers haven't had the best past 2 to 3 years. I mean, Chris Paul gets injured right when they need him the most. And
Blake too.
And it's Blake as well, and it seems like after that happens, the team just kind of falls apart. So I mean, if I was the Clippers, I'd be scared because they don't do anything this year. I mean, it's either trade them at the deadline or get nothing for them in the offseason.
Yeah, let's just think about this for a second. Steph Curry gets injured in the first round against the Houston Rockets, slips on the floor, MCL injury. The Clippers have it all in their hands. Like, you're going to get a banged-up Warriors team, and you're going to have a chance to advance to the Western Conference Finals. Clay's great, Draymond's good, Bogut, Iguodala, Barnes, all those guys are formidable. But you got this healthy Clippers team under the leadership of Doc Rivers. They're finally going to knock off Golden State. What happens the next night?
Chris Paul gets hurt, Blake Griffin gets hurt.
I mean, it's just a disaster that goes on there in Clippers land. And I mean, maybe it's a Clippers thing. I mean, maybe they're just not destined to win. Maybe they're just not. But it also doesn't help that DeAndre Jordan came out and said that he believes that an Olympic gold medal trumps an NBA title. You're employed by the NBA. Your job is to be an NBA basketball player. Your job is to deliver an NBA championship. As an NBA fan, I don't want to hear you saying that an Olympic gold medal is more valuable to you than an NBA championship. I appreciate the patriotism. I appreciate you representing the country. But your number one job is to be an NBA player, and that's just not going to help the case here. It's just not. I'm pretty sure Blake and Chris weren't very big fans of hearing that.
We also heard Carmelo Anthony come out and say that as well. And both of those are guys who haven't won a championship yet. They haven't even come close to winning the championship yet. So that's my problem with it. International basketball is nothing close to compared to the NBA. The competition is just not there. So in my opinion, there's no reason for them to be making such a statement because, like you said, their job is to give their team the best chance to win an NBA championship. So for me, an NBA championship surpasses a gold medal easy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's be real here. Gold medal, I mean, it's great. Not every player gets the chance to play for their country and go out and win a gold medal like the USA is supposed to do, since we're the best basketball country to planet. So, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, an NBA championship is something that not every player can achieve because you're playing against the best players in the world on a night-to-night basis. So yeah, winning an NBA championship definitely trumps a gold medal.
And let me just name a few teams for you guys. The Dallas Mavericks with Mark Cuban, the mogul that he is in basketball. Think about the youth movement that he's built there to put around Dirk Nowitzki. He's got a young Harrison Barnes who I believe is going to untap all of his potential in Dallas. I believe this guy has potential to be a star. Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe I'm hitting the nail right in the head on this one. The San Antonio Spurs. They're always an interesting team, and they're always including veteran players in there, younger players just to include in the fold. Come play for Greg Popovich, come play with Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. Tim Duncan's now retired, but I believe the Spurs philosophy can still attract free agents there. The big one for me, the Miami Heat. You lost Dwayne Wade. Chris Bosh is always questionable, but you have one thing on your side. You have the gangster of the NBA himself, Pat Riley.
Well, to that point, I mean, it would have been great to see the Lakers, you know, do that for Kobe, what they've done for Dirk, what they did for Tim Duncan and company.
But Jim Buss is no more Cuban than Pat Riley. We understand that.
Well, Jim Buss shouldn't have been there. They should have got him long gone years ago, honestly. But yeah, like you said, it's been great to see Dallas, San Antonio, and even Pat Riley. I know he's got a plan. It kind of messed up there with Dwayne Wade because there's no reason Dwayne Wade shouldn't be on the Heat roster right now. But it's going to be interesting to see how these other franchises copy from that and surround their star aging players with young, you know, upcoming players.
Exactly. If I'm a Miami Heat fan, I'm not exactly worried about the fact that Dwayne Wade is gone. Yeah, you're going to have a bad season this year, but you're Miami, you're South Beach, you got the palm trees, you got no taxes, and you got Pat Riley, who in NBA lore has to be considered one of the top 5 coaches / general managers of all time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's address the Miami thing. You know, Dwayne Wade left for one reason and one reason only: loyalty. They didn't want to give him his $50 million, and he went to Chicago to get that money. I feel like that was definitely on Pat Riley, an aspect of, you know, he didn't really make Wade a priority. You know, he got Whiteside his max contract deal, and then he kind of didn't really have enough money to give the person that got him championship by himself, and then, you know, 2 more with LeBron and Chris Bosh, of course. So, you know, I feel like that was definitely on Riley in that instance. But I definitely think as a GM, he can make some moves and bring some players in. Goran Dragic is a good player. You know, you got Whiteside, of course. You got Hassan White. You know, they have a great core, but I think that they just need to add that superstar caliber player or another star to propel them in the East.
Going back to what you said with Wade, it just wasn't even last year. It was even when LeBron left, they got Chris Bosh the contract, and they were just asking Wade to take money to fit into the cap.
Right.
So years and years and years is going on. Dwayne's not getting what he deserves.
He's never been the highest paid player on the team.
And that's the problem right there.
Even when Shaq was there, as Shaq was aging, there should have been some way in there where Wade was the highest paid player on the team. Before Shaq got there, he wasn't the highest paid player on the team. So, you know, we understand that. But you spoke on the loyalty thing there, Miles. I mean, we saw this happen with many other players in many different sports. Kobe Bryant is the one player who I can say that his team was loyal to him. Not that it did them any favors because they're losing ways and the fact that they're rebuilding now. But let's think about this. 49ers shipped Joe Montana out of there. Brett Favre basically got shipped out of Green Bay. Michael Jordan, he even was told, you can't stay in Chicago. They basically shipped him out of the door there. So, you know, loyalty is a big thing in sports that people speak about, they want to see, but that needs to come more from the front office and the management before it can come from the players first.
Definitely. You don't see the loyalty like you should be talking about Dwayne Wade. You seen Kobe. I think in that situation, it was either a choice. They were going to pay Kobe or do what they did to him eventually, which ultimately led to their demise. Of course, they've been off the last couple of years. But like you said, we haven't seen much loyalty. I think it's more of a what can you do for me now type of age in sports, where if you can't produce the way you used to before, you can't really get the money you deserve.
And it's always been that way in the world of sports. When you start to get older, when you're a veteran in the game, and there's someone behind you that's ready to take your spot, yeah, thanks for what you've done, but your time is up. The MLB, they're finally starting to see that it's something that needs to happen to improve the game. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, he came out a few days ago and stated comments on how the game needs to change something to gain a younger audience back. We did not hear that from former Commissioner Bud Selig, but Rob Manfred is on the page. Randolph, what are your comments about this?
It's about time, in my opinion. The games just go for too long. People, they want to see excitement. Baseball, at times, the games are exciting, but if you need a way to speed it up. And with the growing popularity of soccer, you see a lot of people are shifting to soccer now more than baseball because the games are more exciting, fast-paced, there's a lot of action. So they have to find a way to implement a faster pace to the baseball games while still keeping it, competitive.
Yeah, just like the UFC and the boxing, comparison. People want action, and they want action now. So when you have the UFC and the boxing, and when they're fighting each other, people they get excited. But with baseball, like you said, the games are dragged out, and then the games can't be finished until somebody gets a score. So we might be in 10, 13 innings, 16, 17 inning games, and it's just it gets out of hand at times.
Definitely. The minor leagues has implemented a pitch clock on their pitchers there. Should it be in the big leagues as well?
I think so, to enhance the game. I think so.
I believe a shot clock really has helped the game of basketball so much because you can't just sit there and hold your ball.
Right.
Definitely. Maybe baseball is still considered America's pastime. Now, maybe this is just me in my eyes. The NFL has surpassed baseball in popularity, but the NBA is getting to that level as well. And you mentioned soccer, they're getting there as well. So something has to happen there. Something has to happen there. Are you not on the Dak attack just yet? Dak Prescott, he's been having a great preseason for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't usually read too much into preseason stats, but after Tony Romo's injury last night after 3 plays, Dak Prescott had to come in and face the first-team defense of the Seattle Seahawks, better known as the Legion of Boom. And he continued to do what he's done all preseason long. Shock the world. So far in the preseason, Dak Prescott is 39 for 50, 454 yards, 5 touchdowns, and he can also run the ball. 7 carries, 53 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jared Goff, the number 1 overall pick, and not so much. 12 for 21, 120 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. In 3 preseason games, only 21 attempts, he's completed 12 of them. What is going on?
With Jared Goff, I think it's a lot of pressure on him, I would say, even though it's just the preseason, he was the number 1 pick. So in the case of being him compared to Dak Prescott, I feel like Dak Prescott comes out and he can play free. He was a 4th round pick. There's no expectations on him. Tony Romo was the starter, so he can come out and he can just play his game. He has nothing to worry about compared to Jared Goff. If he doesn't come out and play good, everyone's going to be talking about him. He might not get the job, so on and so forth.
And remember, Dak slid all the way to the 4th round of the draft. Now, 2 years ago, he was a candidate for the Heisman Trophy. Last year, he kind of fell off the map some there at Mississippi State as the team had a subpar season. But, Miles, is Jared Goff, is he mediocre, is he bad, or is he just in a bad situation with the Rams, considering the fact that Jeff Fisher is the coach? And I watched the first episode of Hard Knocks, and where he cut a receiver off the team for just doing something against team rules. And he addressed the team saying, we are not a 7-9 team. We are a 10-6 team, we're an 11-5 team, and what that player did was 7-9 stuff. You're a 7-9 coach. You don't go to the playoffs consistently. You don't. So I don't understand it. So even though they're back in LA, they're back in a bigger market, is it still a bad situation right now?
I mean, I feel personally as any number one pick, I mean, the overwhelming pressure on you to perform, especially at the quarterback position. I mean, let's be honest here, with the NFL and the quarterbacks, it's just a big toss-up, you know. The number one pick could be a bust, and a fourth round pick could be a great player, you know. When it comes to quarterbacks in the NFL, it's so hit or miss. So I would definitely say it's always a bad situation, especially when you have a rookie quarterback coming in and they're expected to produce instantly. I'd definitely say bad situation.
You know, to me, he really shouldn't have been the number one overall pick. I would have took a chance on Carson Wentz. I was really impressed with Carson Wentz before the NFL draft. What was it that he completed? His first 60, 61 attempts in minicamp that he was doing before the draft?
It was.
I was really impressed with him, and many were saying Carson Wentz is going to be the number one overall pick. And in a situation like LA, I feel like he could have thrived. New environment, big market, unknown name, could become the next big talent. You know, I just feel like he's in an undeserving spot right now, being that number one overall pick.
I think he deserved to be number one pick, honestly. Watching him in college, he's a guy who can make all the throws, he can make all the plays. But the problem with him in college was his offensive line, just the whole system there in California. But I think going back to what you said about the Hard Knocks, they can be a 10-16. Jared Goff just has to get acclimated with the offense. They got to get it settled down in Los Angeles. The defense, we know they're going to be there. But if Goff can just settle down, get acclimated with the offense, I think the Rams can be a surprise team this year.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, NFL, these draft picks these days, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, there's times like, you know, example with RG3 and Andrew Luck. Both quarterbacks went 1 and 2. You know, RG3 had a great rookie year, but I mean, after that, things just seemed to go down the hill. I mean, you know, it seems that these quarterbacks, their first year is always good until the team starts to get a scouting report on them, and then after that, that's really their second year is really the test to see how much they've improved.
I'm glad you spoke on RG3, Miles, because that brings me to another subject. Can he bounce back in Cleveland? He's looking good so far in the preseason, but the preseason can always be, it's more different than the regular season. The regular season, you're facing first-team defenses the entire game.
I think he can bounce back. What he has to do is he has to make sure he stays healthy. And the next thing is there's not the pressure that there was in Washington on him. Kirk Cousins was always on his shoulder. So there was always a crazy amount of pressure on him, to where in Cleveland there's no expectation for the Browns. So all he has to do is come out, play hard, and I think he'll make his name relevant again in top quarterback conversations.
Yeah, I definitely think RG3 still has the talent. I'm still a personal believer in RG3. You know, he had a great rookie season with the Redskins. After that, I really thought the Colts should have picked him first, honestly, but we see how that kind of worked out in Washington. But, you know, I think he can definitely bounce back in Cleveland. I think he'll have a good year.
Here's one of the reasons I feel good about the RG3 factor in Cleveland. You're reuniting him with Josh Gordon, one of the players that helped him win the Heisman Trophy when he was at Baylor. Then you have another high draft pick at receiver who they drafted, who's also coming out of Baylor as well. You know, you have a Baylor trio there. You know, they all just have that Baylor.
Watch for Terrell Pryor, too.
Yeah.
Terrell Pryor has looked good for them in the preseason. He's looking good. You know, maybe Hugh Jackson, Sashi Brown, Paul DePodesta, they're really changing life in Cleveland. Now, I'm not saying that the Browns are going to shock the world and they're going to go to the playoffs or they're going to win the Super Bowl.
But they'll
no, I'm not saying that. But they'll be better than last year. They'll be better than most people think. And it's time for our wrap-up segment here on Xtreme Sports. Let's begin by talking about there is a petition going around in Durant, Oklahoma for the city to change its name from Durant to Westbrook. Here is what a citizen of the town wrote, Ryan Nazari. Ladies and gentlemen, the great state of Oklahoma has been betrayed. Yes, it is understood that the city Durant was not named after the evil Kevin Durant. Just keep that in mind. but it is just another hideous reminder of what happened to our community. Support the cause. Hashtag Westbrook OK. The city was not named after Kevin Durant. The city was there before Kevin Durant was even there. I mean, I understand that Oklahoma City, Oklahoma as a state, the Thunder fans, I understand they feel betrayed. But at this point, I feel like you just got to get over it. You got to get over it because you still have Russell Westbrook for the next few years. It's not like when LeBron left Cleveland and they didn't have anything to lean on.
I'm all for it. Why not? I'm all for it. I mean, Westbrook, he's going to be there. He's an exciting player to watch. I'm looking forward to see how far he can take them being the lead man now that Durant's gone, so I'm all for it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, hey, why not? Westbrook's a guy, this is his team now, so, you know, he has a chance to show what he could really do. We've already kind of seen a glimpse of what he can do without Durant. He's nearly averaging a triple-double. So, you know, I can see them checking it to Westbrook, Oklahoma. I like the sound of that.
I understand what you guys are saying, but let me just go ahead and say this right now for those who may not understand. He signed a 3-year contract. What if he leaves in 3 years? You still gonna have that name?
Like Oladipo.
Just change it again.
Oklahoma.
Let's talk about some scores for some notable MLB games tonight. The Rangers and the Indians, the two top teams in the American League, they're actually in a weekend series right now. The Rangers took game 1 last night after a dominant performance by Cole Hamels. Randolph, who are you expecting to win tonight?
I'm going to Cleveland.
I'm going with Cleveland as well.
I'm going to go with Cleveland as well. I mean, the Indians, they've done this all season. They lose and then they bounce back, you know.
Brazil.
Is this a preview of the ALCS?
It possibly is. There are two teams playing really great right now. I don't think so, though. I'm watching those Royals. I think they'll be in there. They'll squeak in the playoffs, and they'll be in there.
Yeah, well, baseball is such a toss-up. I mean, you know, you can try to put the lower seed as, you know, the unlikely favorites, but with baseball, it seems like from time to time, the lower seed seems to just somehow prevail and win.
Yes, September is a tricky month. Another team I'm going to ask you guys about, the Houston Astros. You know, they were a big team last season, young team, up and coming. Just pretty much what I would say the Washington Nationals look like this year. But do they even have a shot at making it at this point?
I think they've fallen a little bit far behind. I don't think they'll sneak into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, gosh, the Astros. I feel like they're the Cowboys of the MLB. It's like every year we talk about them. Oh, the Astros, you know, they're going to do it this year. They're going to do it. And then it just seems like something happens and they always fall flat on their face.
The Orioles are traveling to New York to take on the Yankees. Good AL East rivalry right there. You know, Randolph, what are you expecting out of the results of that game tonight? Aaron Judge, Tyler Austin, and Gary Sanchez, they look good for the Yankees, but Adam Jones is returning to bat leadoff tonight. The Orioles have been consistent all season.
The Yankees need to win, so they're going to win. I expect the Yankees to win this series and gain some ground in the AL East.
Yeah, I want the Yankees to win as well. Excuse me. You know, it seems like Chris Jones on the Orioles, ever since he had that 50 home run streak before the MLB break started, it seems like after that he kind of fell off.
Yeah, he has completely just fallen off. We mentioned the Royals. The Royals taking on the Red Sox tonight in Fenway.
This is key for the Royals. It's about that time, like I said earlier, for them to start getting it going if they want to make that playoff chase.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna go with the Red Sox tonight. I mean, it's hard to win. It's hard to win against the Red Sox at home. You know, the field's a little bit bigger. You got to hit them home runs over the Green Monster. So we'll go with the Red Sox tonight.
Interesting NFL preseason games also taking place tonight. The New England Patriots taking on the Carolina Panthers in preseason action. What could possibly be a Super Bowl preview. Jimmy Garoppolo will start in place of Tom Brady, who will come in relief. Who will win this game tonight, gentlemen?
Patriots.
Yeah, I think Patriots as well. It seems like every time Tom Brady goes down, it seems like they always have a willing and capable backup quarterback.
I just need to see a little bit more from Jimmy Garoppolo. That's what I'm looking for in this game.
The Cleveland Browns will be taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Battle of Jameis versus the Battle of Griffin. A college matchup we wish we could have saw.
I'm going with RG3.
Yeah, RG3 as well. I think he can do it.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. I'm picking Jameis tonight. I believe he's the next big quarterback, and I believe just nice preseason performances, nice regular season performances, a big step. The Buffalo Bills and the Washington Redskins, two teams that have the talent, but we don't expect much from during the season. Who wins tonight?
I'm gonna go with the Bills.
I'm going to Redskins for me. Kirk Cousins look pretty good this season.
I'm going to go with the Redskins as well. I'm also excited to see what the running game is going to look like. The defense is said to be improving. I mean, I'm just ready to see what the Redskins are going to do. I'm one of those that believe they can shock the world, but that whole Dallas having a fully healthy team, that plays a factor in there. It really does.
I'm watching the Giants in that division though.
Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, like I stated earlier in the show, the Savannah State volleyball team, they're on the road this weekend at a tournament in Athens, Georgia. They're taking on the University of San Francisco tonight. They're taking on UGA tomorrow. Best of luck to the Lady Tigers there. Well, thanks for joining us this week on this week's edition of Xtreme Sports, everybody. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and like us on Facebook. I am the X Factor Xavier McKnight.
Randolph Barratt.
And this has been Xtreme Sports. See you next week.